Welcome again, everyone. Looks like we manifested more participants while we meditated. So tonight is week 2 of our summer Sutta series. I couldn't be there last week, but I heard Joy kicked it off really beautifully. No surprise. So tonight we're going to look at one of my very favorite suttas, and it's the Anapanasati Sutta. Anapana means breathing. Sati means mindfulness. So this sutta is the Buddha's instruction on mindfulness of breathing. So if you'd like to take some notes, I don't know if you would like to or not, but I'm going to be giving you some just resources and things. So you may like to grab a paper and pen if that's not too far away. I'll see about typing them in too. But I was very, very fortunate early in my study and practice life. I was given a copy of the book by Larry Rosenberg. And it's this book, and it's dog-eared, and I've had it for, 13 years at least. And it's called Breath by Breath. And Larry Rosenberg is a beautiful writer, a deep, deep practitioner. And he explains the Anapanasati Sutta in lay terms that he's an American from Brooklyn, Dharma teacher, one of the founders of Cambridge Insight meditation. So the sutta actually comes from the Majjhima Nikaya. That's the middle length. Majjhima means middle length. Nikaya means book or volume. So it's Sutta 118. And I was excited about giving this talk because it occurred to me that many, as I was in the beginning, many meditators, are given the basic breath, the breath instructions, meditation instructions. But you may not be aware that there's a whole fleshed out sutta of actually it's 16 instructions by the Buddha. So it's pretty exciting. What we actually practice in that basic level is really the first group. So the 16, don't let this like glaze you over, the idea of 16 of anything, but they're broken into groups of 4. So, and they correspond to the Satipatthana Sutta. The first 4 is about breathing with the body. The second 4 are feelings. And here we're talking not about emotions, but about really sensations. And the third group is mind, breathing aware of mind activities. And the fourth is just like the Satipatthana Sutta, that's broken into 4 foundations of mindfulness. The fourth is very subtle. It's really the Dharma objects or truth, like the way things are that we can. Now, if you didn't know anything and you spent diligent time working with awareness of breathing, you would proceed through these steps without even knowing them. But this takes, depth. This takes time on the cushion, but it's a natural process. The whole sutta is it starts with the body, like I said, more gross experience to more and more and more and more subtle. So in order to become aware of subtleties, we have to be deeper in concentration and stability. So anybody can find that. So anyway, this talk, definitely a lot of it is based on my experience with breath by breath, but also and the sutta from the Majjhima Nikaya. So I've looked at 3 different translations. So I'm using predominantly Larry Rosenberg's book of translation. So the other I've looked at is Thich Nhat Hanh, and of course, Bhikkhu Bodhi translated the Majjhima Nikaya. So let's take a look at the sutta. Oh, and I'm going to also recommend that you go on Dharma Seed and type in Anapanasati Sutta. And remember again, Anapana means breath, Anapana, Sati, mindfulness, Sati, Anapanasati Sutta. And what will come up are several talks by Ajahn Sucitto, but the one I want to point you to is the one by James Baraz, Baraz. It's a wonderful talk. He is sharing his experience with Analayo, being on a retreat with Analayo. I was on a retreat with Analayo also for the sutta. So I really enjoyed being reminded about some of the things that Analayo said, the great Bhikkhu scholar. So let's take a breath. At least I need to. And dive into the sutta a little bit. Okay. So I'm not gonna read it to you because that wouldn't be helpful. First of all, I'm gonna tell you what happens before he gets into the instruction. So the Buddha is, and the bhikkhus or monks or practitioners like us, but they're monastics. They've just ended a 3-month rains retreat. Every year they would do a 3-month retreat during the rainy season. And at the end of the retreat, the Buddha addressed the group and said how elated he was, how uplifted he was, because he saw such progress being made by the group, large group. And he said, and some of these monks were teaching groups of 10, some were teaching groups of 20, 30, 40. And he could just see such incredible progress going on. He said, such that I'm going to stay another month. I'm going to stay. And so the word got out in the countryside that the Buddha was going to stay and do another month retreat. And practitioners came from all over the country to spend that last month with the Buddha. And so this is, he addresses them that he says, mindfulness of in and out breathing, when developed and pursued, is of great fruit, of great benefit. Mindfulness of in and out breathing, when developed and pursued, brings the 4 foundations of mindfulness to perfection. When the 4 foundations of mindfulness are brought to perfection, then this brings the 7 factors of awakening. So now we're getting closer and closer to liberation, awakening, to their culmination. When the 7 factors of awakening are developed and pursued, we have perfect, clear insight and liberation, freedom. So this mindfulness of in and out breathing brings you all the way to liberation. Can bring you all the way to liberation. Anybody there yet? Okay, I'm not. Okay, so this is now the beginning of the instructions. I'll give you a quickie. He first says, bring mindfulness to presence. And then notice your breath in your body. Notice that gross level. Notice the in and out. And then he'll bring us to deeper levels, like I said. So here we go. Now, how is mindfulness, this is the Buddha's words, how is mindfulness of in and out breathing developed and pursued so as to bring the 4 foundations of mindfulness to their culmination? Here we go. The meditator, having gone to the forest, to the shade of a tree or an empty building, sits down with legs folded crosswise, body held direct and setting mindfulness to the fore. It doesn't mean we have to sit in lotus. He's speaking to going to a quiet, secluded place, could be in your home, doesn't have to be by a tree, and take a stable seat. Okay? Always mindful. One breathes in, mindful, one breathes out. And now it's the first group of 4. They're called tetrads, each group. Tetrads. Number 1, while breathing in long, one knows I breathe in long. While breathing out long, one knows I breathe out long. So again, we can take that long breath when we begin to really be mindful. This is a long breath. We could take 2 or 3 long breaths, fully mindful of what that feels like, what that's like. Second instruction is while breathing in short, one knows I breathe in short. While breathing out short, one knows I breathe out short. So then we come to our natural breath and it's shorter. And we know that. So what's happened? We're finding out what's happening with our breath. We're becoming more intimate with our breath. After these first 2 instructions, the Buddha changes the language. For the next 14 steps, he begins them with one trains oneself. Bhikkhu Bodhi says, he trains thus. So in other words, now we're talking about training. So the third step, after we know the breath, is one trains oneself sensitive to the whole body. I breathe in. Sensitive to the whole body, I breathe out. And just like we normally do, all of a sudden when you're intimate with that present moment with the breath, it's natural, isn't it? That suddenly you're aware of your whole body. Whether you're slumping, whether you're sitting up tall, whether there's aches and different things going on in the body, our awareness is becoming more intimate. And what happens? Then we notice, wow, there's calming going on. The 4th instruction, one trains oneself, calming the whole body, I breathe in. Calming the whole body, I breathe out. And that constitutes the first tetrad, the first 4 body. Next, we go to feelings. One trains oneself, sensitive to rapture, I breathe in. Sensitive to rapture, I breathe out. Now, Nalio suggests that you can bring in a thought, a joyful thought. His own experience, he one time saw a group of baby squirrels playing, and it just filled him with joy to see these little baby squirrels just playing and just having a tussle and fun. So he sometimes uses that. But you could kind of get into what maybe puppies, whatever. What a little thought can come in, kind of like when you practice metta, that will inspire that feeling of joy. Okay, with your breath. Just the fact that you're sitting and breathing is great. You know, we can have great gratitude, which brings contentment, happiness. The next one is, in fact, pleasure, or it could be happiness. One trains oneself sensitive to pleasure, I breathe in. Sensitive to pleasure, I breathe out. So this is the body now becoming more relaxed, more at ease, and it's pleasurable. It feels good. It feels good. So again, a natural progression is going on. The next one now, we're still with the feelings group, is one trains oneself sensitive to mental processes, I breathe in. Sensitive to mental processes, I breathe out. So this is sensitive to what's happening with thoughts, what's happening with the mind. So again, this is shared from James Baratz. He said he heard somebody liken this to a mother with a bunch of kids at the playground, and she's noticing all things, all kinds of activity going on. And this is like the activity of the mind. You just notice the mind might be busy, and you're not having a problem with it. It's not, you're just watching. You're watching the mind go, oh, popping up with the different thoughts. And you're looking at the process, not the content. You're not getting pulled away. Maybe you are. If you get pulled away, you just come back to the breath. Come back to knowing the breath, calming, relaxing, and okay, So the next instruction is one trains oneself calming mental processes. I breathe in. Calming mental processes, I breathe out. So this is the mother corralling the kids at the playground and saying, it's time to rest. It's rest time. So we take a little more, we're totally accepting of the activity of the mind, and this is what helps it to relax. We just say, okay, thank you very much for all of these inputs. Let's relax now. And this is the end of the feeling section, and we go into the mind, the third section. And this one begins. I'm not going to say one trains oneself every time anymore, but that's what it says. Sensitive to the mind, I breathe in. Sensitive to the mind, I breathe out. So this is just, okay, we're just really tuning in. We've got enough stability. We're relaxed. We're content. We're practicing. We're all in with our practice. We're fully here. We've got some stability. And we're just opening to the state of the mind. Is it restless? Is it greedy? Is there aversion going on? And it's okay. We're just observing. We're becoming sensitive. The next instruction, gladdening the mind. Again, we bring in, breathe out, gladdening the mind. Oh, I'm alive. I get to practice meditation. How I'm human. How lucky is that? How lucky am I that I get to be here doing this, getting more familiar with more freedom, with more ease in my life, in my experience, So that can be all kinds of different ways to gladden the mind. But one of the quick routes is gratitude. The last in the mind group is liberating the mind. Liberating the mind, I breathe in. Liberating, I breathe out. So as we get to know our mind state, as we get to know our mind, we're not caught up. We're more free. There's a sense of the mind is just really, we're knowing that we're knowing, right? We know that we know what's happening and in the mind, and that's no problem. There's no problem. There's a freedom. in that. And again, natural progression, staying with the in and out breath. These are going to unfold. Over time, this is really going to take place more on retreats as the Buddha, I don't think you have to do a 4-month retreat, or a 3-month, but longer periods support this kind of deeper knowing. The last group, the wisdom group, is impermanence, knowing, focusing on impermanence, seeing the minute moment by moment change of our awareness. The awareness notices this, and we see that it's all in flux and flow. We're stable enough to not have it be a concept of impermanence, but an actual experience, moment to moment. Then we move to, again, these are the more subtle, much more subtle levels of focusing on fading away. I breathe in and out. Fading away of what? Craving. Craving of our suffering. Craving for things to be any other way. We see it, we let go. It's fading. And then cessation is next. And this is cessation of dukkha. We see the craving fade. We see any discomfort, any dissatisfaction with any moment. We're seeing it cease. And the final is focusing on relinquishment. I breathe in and out. And then the most common translation of that is just letting go. We're just able to really just sit moment by moment, let go, let go, let go. No clinging, no craving, no suffering. Doesn't mean you're enlightened, because unless you get up from your cushion and that sustains itself for several years. But in that moment, you're free. So I'd like to now end with some quotes from some teachers that you know of. Well, Larry Rosenberg again. He says, the meditation system taught by the Buddha, in which conscious breathing is used to develop both serenity and insight, is a natural progression of 16 contemplations that fully explore the mind-body process and lead to liberation. I just told you all that. John Kabat-Zinn, meditation is a lifetime's work. It usually deepens as we arrive incrementally out of degrees of understanding. We often think we understand some aspect of practice or life. Then after more practice, it is not uncommon to find our understanding to be more encompassing and deeper, or perhaps totally different from what it was before. The Sutta on the full awareness of breathing, reflecting the meditative practice itself, is truly limitless in its implications and importance. And Thich Nhat Hanh, don't we love Thich Nhat Hanh? He says, in the Sutra on the full awareness of breathing, the Buddha shows us how to transform our fear, anger, and craving. I was so happy the day I discovered the sutra. I thought I'd discovered the greatest treasure in the world. Before I'd been content to simply gain knowledge. I didn't know how to enjoy the present moment, how to look deeply into my life, and how to enjoy the positive conditions that were all around me. This sutta is so basic and so wonderful. There are many great suttas, but approaching them without this sutta is like trying to reach the top of a mountain without a path to go on. And this is Thich Nhat Hanh's book on the Anapanasati Sutta. It's called Breathe, You Are Alive. and it's all about this sutta. Okay. And I think I don't have time for any more quotes, but I commend you to take a look and to learn more about what you're already doing, a lot of what you're already doing. Thank you so much for your attention. Oh, I think it's time for a deep breath before the announcements. That was long. Okay, please see their website for all the details of these announcements, imccharlotte.org. Want to thank you for Donna. Any Donna that you have given, we want to make an official formal thank you for your generosity. It really helps our Sangha. Tuesday noon sits. The Zoom link is on the websites. They're every Tuesday at noon, still going on. If you haven't checked it out, tune in and see what it's about. It's gonna be on Zoom throughout the rest of the summer, at least. The book discussion group, contact Joy if you're interested. The next one starts on September 2nd. It's Unbinding is the book by Kathleen Dowling Singh. Unbinding. Again, all the details on the website. Tuera Sala will be our guest leader next week. She's a teacher from the Northwest. It's my understanding we will start at 7, not 7:30. That'll be next week. We will return to in-person Wednesday evening Sangha meetings on August 4th. So 2 more weeks on the Zoom format, and then we'll be in person. But guess what? We're also going to Zoom. So those of you who are here from outside of town, or for whatever reason, you can Zoom. But we hope to see you in person if you can come. Let's see, registration's open for this summer retreat, the 3-night retreat, August 19th to the 22nd, is coming up, and we're only going to have registrations for a couple more weeks, my understanding, right? Is that right? Yeah. And so Clyde and I will be leading the retreat. If you're new to retreats, reach out to us. Ask us any questions that you might have. Retreats are so invaluable. I cannot tell you how invaluable they are. If you have, insecurity about it, if you have questions, if you're worried about it, please form your questions and reach out to us. We were all worried about, I'll tell you, one of the most common worries is, how am I going to not speak for 3 days? And everybody, just about everybody, reports back that was the easiest part. It wasn't hard not to have social chatter. That was the easiest part. So please consider it. It's a great opportunity. It's 3 nights. It's a drive from here, and it's your Sangha. So, and it's your practice that you'll deepen. The first Wednesday of each month, we will continue with the practice discussion meeting, including the very first meeting in person on August 4th. That'll be the first Wednesday of the month. We will have a practice discussion group that night. The last Wednesday of the month, there'll be a Zoom instruction session group that will happen on Zoom this last Zoom meeting. in 2 weeks. That's for new people or people that want to brush up on meditation instructions. Okay. And thank you to all the volunteers. So this whole Sangha is run by volunteers. And we really couldn't be here without many of us. So, and if you'd like to be a volunteer, we would like for you to. So anyway, any questions about the Anapanasati Sutta, I would love to hear, or if you know how to put your hand up, I will unmute you. And let's just see. You guys already know it, right? You're like, we're already doing this. What do we need to ask about? If there's anything that wasn't quite clear or any concerns. Oh, there's a hand. Let me see that hand. I don't know. I'm clicking on the hand and the one. Let me scroll through and see. Oh, there it is. I'm asking you to unmute, Maria. Okay, hi, Maria.
Hi, Debbie. I had a statement to add about the retreat. I also posted it in the chat box.
Okay.
Some follow-up email will be coming out over the next couple weeks, and I just wanted everyone to know that that would be coming from the retreat@imccharlotte.org email address. So you may have to check your spam folder, that sort of thing.
Okay, great. Thank you, Maria. Thank you. Okay, we have a couple chats. Oh, that was if you want to see Maria's message, it's on the chat. Alana, Joy, thank you, Alana. Appreciate that. Well, I think we're in good shape. I think if everybody's ready, we will proceed to our metta. So again, as the first action toward loving kindness toward yourself, invite the body to soften. Notice the breath as a place to rest, the breathing body, place to rest the mind. And as a reminder that the Buddha said, you can look the world over for another being more deserving of your loving kindness than yourself, and you will not find them. So bringing this loving kindness toward yourself. May I be happy. May I feel safe and be peaceful. May my body be healthy, strong as it can be. May I have ease of well-being. Filled with loving kindness. I will now bring into this heart another and bring to mind someone. Could be four-legged or two-legged. And direct these intentions. May you be happy. May you feel safe and be peaceful. May you be healthy and strong as you can be. May you have ease of well-being. Experiencing this heart of loving kindness toward ourselves, toward this other. We open now wider in all directions to include all beings. May all everywhere be happy. May all beings feel safe and be peaceful. May all beings be healthy and strong. And we wish may all beings have ease of well-being. May any and all merit that arose this evening from our practice, we dedicate it to the well-being of all. May all beings be free from suffering.